Why hello there friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sohum and I'm on a mission to spread peace, love, and positivity through music. Today I'm going to be doing another triple reaction to Need to Breathe, and for all three of the songs we listen to today, I'm going to be doing a lyrical deep dive to hopefully come away with some better understanding here. We're starting with What I'm Here For, then Carry Me, and lastly, Difference Maker. And I was thinking to myself, a lyrical analysis for Need to Breathe makes so much sense because they are not only a melodically talented group, musically talented group, they write amazing hooks and there's so many musical elements that make their music shine, but they're also amazing lyricists and poets in their own right. Every song of theirs has deep meaning, and for me it's very fun to get to understand and unpack some of those details, so it's going to be fun for me. I hope it's fun for you. This triple request today was requested by Craig the Trustworthy, so thank you so much, Craig, for these selections today. I do appreciate it. But now, let's jump into the music. We're going to start with What I'm Here For.
You're uncertain and you're unwell, rags to riches but your heart can't tell. That don't mean you're going to hell, but that's how the story goes. You're like a phoenix rising from the ashes, but all you care about is death and taxes. Being famous,
Love the contrasting in these lines.
it's death and taxes.
Did you hear the breathy
Being famous
overtones
takes
there?
too much practice. I wish it wasn't so. I spent my 20s in the lights of the disco, trying to prove that I could be a hero. There were times when it felt like I was winning, but looking back it only lasted a minute. I watched my friends take over the radio. All it did was drill a hole in my ego. I forgot what goodness was outside my window. Ain't that the way the story goes? I don't need silver linings, I don't need so much more. I just need room to be wrong sometimes. That's all I'm hoping for. I feel like we could find it if we knocked on heaven's door. I say, God, I'm only human. You'd say that's what I'm here for.
Wow. I'm liking so far this almost like minimalism in the instrumentation. Really, the majority of my focus just only goes to the voice, the lyrics, and that acoustic guitar. The outlining of the different chords and this back and forth melody. In and of itself, it creates a bit of this percussive element in addition to the very light percussion we hear in the background. So from a musical perspective, this is a very reserved and kind of quaint performance, at least up until this point. But you can tell that the emotional gravity is there. I'm really liking these lyrics. Obviously, we're going to do a deep dive after we hear the entire thing, but this feels very life-affirming, very powerful and anthemic. It's sort of like a combo of southern rock with gospel undercurrents here.
You say that's what I'm here for. I spent my teens making out in the stairwell inside a church that went long cause the spirit fell. I was really trying to mean something.
What does that mean? Inside a church that went long because the spirit fell. Like going long like in football? Inside a church that went long, so maybe the church service went long because the spirit fell. the service had to be longer because spirits were falling, and that was the remedy to those falling spirits?
I was really trying to mean something to someone, but at the time I just thought that it was fun. I don't need silver linings, I don't need so much more.
You hear the strings?
I just need room to be wrong sometimes. That's all I'm hoping for.
Wow, I like that line a lot.
I feel like we could find it if we knocked on heaven's door. I say, God, I'm only human. You say that's what I'm here for.
The cello here, in addition to the moving percussion, the multiple vocal layers.
I don't need so much more.
Wow.
I just need room to be wrong sometimes. That's all I'm hoping for.
I love that line so much. I just need room to be wrong sometimes. No helicopter parenting, no hovering. Just let me be. Yeah. I'm excited to jump into these lyrics, but I'll just briefly talk about the track as a whole. I love the way that by the end of this one, the composition grew. Because if we had kept it in that kind of melancholic, very reserved first like minute and 50-second feel, it would be still a good song, but it wouldn't stand out in a major way past what the lyrics themselves can offer, because musically it's not as interesting if it were to be kept that way. Even though it's pleasant and good, it's not like the most standout thing in the world, right? And we've had this discussion on the channel. Music doesn't have to always be the highest echelon, biggest chorus thing ever. It can be in that lovely middle. But I'm glad we had that expansion rhythmically, that expansion with the other instruments being added, like the strings, the violin, the cello, that we kind of very subtly hear in this mix as it grows. There's a lot of good stuff musically and all of that. And then, of course, my attention goes to the lyrics because there's so much to unpack here. So let's begin. You're uncertain and you're unwell. Rags to riches, but your heart can't tell. That right there, that line is so wise, right? Because if you have the same mentality, despite whatever, let's say, socioeconomic circumstances you may be facing, emotionally, you're still stuck where you were. That doesn't mean you're going to hell, but that's how the story goes. So just because you have this emotional baggage doesn't mean you're a terrible person, but it is what it is. You kind of have to contend with that thing now. You're like a phoenix rising from the ashes, but all you care about is death and taxes. And being famous takes too much practice, and I wish it wasn't so. Because Phoenix Rising, this is always about rebirth, and then the natural question becomes, what were you? What caused you to die, and what is now the new version of you? What is this before, present, and after looking like? But all you care about is death and taxes, so you're fixated on these almost immaterial things because death is inevitable, taxes are also inevitable. And weirdly enough, in the first reaction I did today, I mentioned the same thing in the song by Heart, Sand. It's a good song, worth checking out. So if you're fixated on these inevitabilities, you take away too much time from the life itself that you could be living. And being famous takes so much practice. I wish it wasn't so. And this is almost, to me, like a bit ironic because you have to practice to be famous, to have it. I've always had this kind of feeling, but people should not seek out fame for fame's sake. If they become famous as a byproduct of some greater value that they uphold, then that's wonderful. But being famous and practicing to be famous feels like a disconnect with your own humanity. And I wish it wasn't so. I spent my 20s in the lights of the disco trying to prove that I could be a hero. There were times when it felt like I was winning, but looking back, it only lasted a minute. Yeah, you put yourself in all of these environments, you feel like everything that you're doing is the most important thing, and upon reflection, you discount all of that. It looks so nominal. It looks like it had no bearing on who you are today. And I would caution this kind of thinking only because everything in your life is a learning process. So if you made mistakes early on, those are mistakes that gave you value because you learned from those mistakes and have incorporated it into the new self that you are, which is who you are. So you don't have to just like hand wave all of the mistakes you ever did in the past and say, wow, I thought I was all these ways and really I wasn't. You could have been partially, and maybe you were at the time too. It's okay to acknowledge that. I just want people to think about themselves realistically as well, because this kind of framing can oftentimes be overly self-critical if taken to its extreme. I watched my friends take over the radio. All it did was drill a hole in my ego. I forgot what goodness was outside my window. Ain't that the way the story goes? So seemingly now, his other friends are becoming popular, becoming famous, and it's impacting my self-worth. And I'm forgetting now that there's a whole life to be lived. I literally don't even look outside my window. Ironically, I have to keep all of my windows closed off for the lighting situation for my reactions. But I literally forgot what the outside looks like because I've been so fixated on this goal of being famous rather than being. I don't need silver linings. I don't need so much more. I just need room to be wrong sometimes. That's all I'm hoping for. This year I like this whole, chorus here because it's purely accepting that, okay, this is not a problem to make mistakes like this. It's okay. And now I don't want people to lie to me and be a yes man to me. I don't even need more than what I'm asking for. It's just what I'm hoping for is to just be incorrect sometimes. And it's okay to do that. Yeah. Life should be honest. We should be able to live with that uncomfortable truth and take our licks and move on and improve rather than become fixated on our mistakes. I feel like we could find it if we knocked on heaven's door. I'd say, God, I'm only human. You'd say, that's what I'm here for. Yeah. We could find that forgiveness, right? It's okay to be wrong sometimes. If we made it to heaven and then, at least accept our fallibility, and then God himself would say, that's what I'm here for. I'm literally here to make you human, give you your autonomy for you to make the decisions for your life so that you can come to the conclusion of being forgiving of the self and of others. I spent my teens making out in the stairwell inside a church that went long because the spirit fell. I was really trying to mean something to someone, but at that time I just thought it was fun. Yeah, again, just like recounting the past, all of the mistakes, feeling a bit larger than life, but realizing that maybe I wasn't so large after all. And now again, I don't need silver linings. You get the repetition here. I just need to be wrong sometimes. Let me experience these things. Let me find out for myself, maybe find out the hard way. And there's that whole quote about what is the difference between being intelligent and being wise. Being wise being intelligent is being able to learn from one's own mistakes. Being wise is to learn from the mistakes of others. it's always subjective whether or not what you believe is true or not, to be an intelligent or wise decision, all based on like where you came from and what you perceive others' advice to look like. But obviously experience can be the best teacher, and sometimes, as people say as well, you have to hit rock bottom before you know which direction you would like to go and how to look back up again. It's a beautiful song. A lot of unpacking there. I know we've got 2 more songs to check out, so I don't want to take too much more of your time here in that sense, but presumably you've already skipped ahead. Anyways, let's jump into the next track, Carry Me.
One, two, 3, 4. I chased you into the light, and I stayed there to see myself pure. All the ashes, the scars, they fail, but they pale in comparison to yours. There were footprints the size of the universe.
I like that
there
melody.
There were fortunes that no one could earn.
That description, footprints,
so I chased
fortunes.
You farther still, and I hope that I never return. From the river's mouth to the mountain peak, from the great divide to the valley deep, I need you to carry me. Carry me, carry me, I'm on my way, but I'm in too deep. I need you to carry me.
Loving this harmony between the 2 gentlemen there. One's brighter, one's breathier and more soulful, like we've already been hearing with Need to Breathe. The song feels like a warm, like, plea of the soul, almost like worship rock. I've heard that genre thrown around a bunch. I'm not sure how legit that genre title is, but it's very, very uplifting.
I need you to carry me. You were calling me into the deep, into waters that no map could find. You were calling me out beyond my fears, where my darkness finds rest in your light.
I like John's voice.
I found a fortress where I could surrender, where my shame didn't hide what I lacked. And so I chased you out farther still, 'cause I know that I ain't never coming back. From the river's mouth to the mountain, through the great divide to the ocean's deep, I need you to carry me. Carry me, carry me, I'm on my way, but I'm in too deep. I need you to carry me. I found a place where the past was forgiven, where my mistakes made a grace I couldn't earn. Yeah, so
There's a lot of forgiveness and Need to Breathe, I'm noticing.
Where my mistakes made a grace I couldn't earn. Yeah, so I piled up my excuses and defenses in the night, and I lit a match, stepped back and watch them burn. From the river's mouth to the mountain peaks, from the great divide where the waters meet, I need you to carry me. Carry me, carry me, from the day that I was born to the edge of the sea. I need you to carry me. There we go.
That was it. Like a song.
Like a song. Dude, I'm a big fan of Bear and John singing together in that way. Really powerful stuff. Songs about like reaching out for help always get me, because for me, a personal struggle of mine, if I'm ever dealing with something emotionally, is to reach out and ask for help. I tend to deal with things on my own, and by the time somebody else notices, I probably already dealt with it, or it's gotten so bad that it kind of comes out as a bit more of a explosive, like emotional, you know, like if you bottle up emotions and then they kind of just like explode and spill out all at once. That can happen for me. It doesn't like manifest into like crazy problematic ways, but it definitely doesn't feel great when you're holding on to those feelings. And it's important that we rely on those that love us, because they can carry some of that mental load, something Sohum has to work on more and more. So let's jump into these lyrics here. I chased you into the light. Yeah, oops, I'm dropping stuff. Chased you into the light. Yeah, I stayed there to see myself pure. All the ashes and scars, they fail. They pale in comparison to yours. I chased you into the light. I have to answer who that is. Yeah, I stayed there to see myself pure. I stayed chasing you to remain pure. All the ashes and scars, they fail. They pale in comparison to yours, because you have suffered so immensely, potentially for me. Again, given whom you might be in this context, you've suffered so immensely for me that any pain that I carry, it pales. Your footprints were the size of the universe and the fortunes that no one could earn. So I chased you farther still, and I hope that I never return. To me, I think the you here is Jesus Christ. It seems like this is the chase of one's own spiritual connection with the Lord, and recognizing the sacrifices made by Jesus, having that humility to then say, my issues are not as great, and I'm going to make my best effort to aspire to be this forgiving and selfless. From the river's mouth to the mountain peak, through the great divide and the valley deep, I need you to carry me. And now that I've shown myself, I've told you my issues, and I'm following you through and through, I will do what you say. Can you please help carry me? I need you to carry me. It's too hard to bear, to do this on my own. Carry me, I'm on my way, but I'm in too deep. I need you to carry me. This is an interesting line here, but I'm in too deep. Stuck in your own ways, maybe? Being unable to relieve oneself of the ego. But honestly, it feels like he's able to quickly rid his own ego by stating the need. We'll see. Let me know what you guys think about that. You were calling me into the deep, into waters that no map could find. You were calling me out beyond my fears. Right? You made your efforts to reach out to me, to accept me. Where my darkness finds rest in your light, I found a fortress where I could surrender, where my shame didn't hide what I lacked. And so I chased you out farther still, because I know that I ain't never coming back. You were there for me at all of the worst times in my life. When I felt the worst, you've been with me through my shame, my anxieties, my fears, and now I'm going to chase you further still into the deeps of this spiritual ocean, because I have that much faith and trust in you. And I know I ain't never coming back. I don't intend to stop chasing after you and being on this journey. I have committed, and I'm here. And then we get some repetition here. I found a place where the past was forgiven, where my mistakes met a grace I couldn't earn. That is interesting. I found a place where the past was forgiven. So we've talked about forgiveness, where my mistakes met a grace I couldn't earn. So this couldn't is like self-imposed, because if you believe that forgiveness is on the table, then you should always be able to earn it. But my mistakes, they met that grace, they met that ultimate forgiveness, even despite my feelings of not being worthy of that forgiveness or being able to earn it. So I piled up my excuses and defenses in the night, then lit a match, stepped back, and watched them burn. Yeah, this is the hardest thing to do, and there's so many different kind of defense mechanisms that keep us safe from the truth. But really, we just need to be diving deep and giving ourselves completely over, not holding ourselves hostage at the very least. And then again, I need you to carry me from the day I was born to the end of the seas. I need you to carry me. Yeah, I think this is a soul plea. It is a soul plea to the Lord. It's a prayer. It's a very contemporary prayer and very uplifting. It shows how much faith they have. It's very admirable for sure. And in our own lives too, there are saints that walk among us, and they take the form of our friends and family, those who care for us. They are there to help carry the weight. As you will carry weight for them, they carry weight for us. And there's a certain archetype of person, I feel like if you know who you are, you know who you are, but a lot of people will completely bend over backwards for another and always carry their weight without having their own weight carried for. And importantly, we focus on ourselves to make sure that our well is full, our cup is full, but being ultimately selfless is to do things even despite not being full yourself. Whenever I see people in my personal life who are struggling, I always lend out a hand. Even if I don't know if I have the capacity to help, but I want them to know that I'm there for them, and whatever is to come, we can be there together, and I can help carry, at least be there. Oof, another big one. Let's check out the last song of the day, Difference Maker.
Yeah, isn't it amazing how a man can find himself alone, calling to the darkness for an answer that he's never known. Yeah, isn't it amazing how a God can take a broken man, let him find a fortune and ruin it with his own two hands.
Yeah, giveth, taketh, you earn, you lose.
He walks on up the hill, on the rock on which he stands, looks back at the crowd, looks down at his hands, and he says, I am a difference maker. I am a difference maker. Oh,
very reserved intro. Big emphasis on acoustic. Glad we're getting the electric voicing here. And another message to God.
Yeah, isn't it amazing how a man can find himself alone?
Or at least about God, not necessarily to God here.
He's calling to the darkness for an answer that he's never known.
Such a fan of his voice.
He walks on up the hill, the rock on which he stands, looks back at the crowd, looks down at his hands, and he says, I am a difference maker.
Yeah, Bear's voice is always so emotionally charged, very raw too. You can hear that it's a live performance, live recording, filled with prayer and a bit of that southern drawl, a bit of that gospel, a bit of that like folk rock kind of feel. Again, very contemporary. It's almost like a contemporary prayer or hymn.
And he says, I am a difference maker. I am a difference maker. Oh, I am the only one that speaks to him. I am the friendliest of friends of God.
About to hit the foot pedal, looks like. Get some tone changes. Yeah. Feels like it's getting a little bit louder. Not a lot of musical complexity. It's all in the emotion here.
Yeah, I am on the fence about nearly everything I've seen. I have felt the fire get put out by too much gasoline, and we're all strangers passing through place and time. Afternoon, and life is but a vision in a
very subtle vocal cry there.
Passing through place and time. Afternoon, and life is but
afternoon. You hear that little cry, noon.
Afternoon, and life is but a vision in a window that we're peeking through. Helpless conversation with a man who says he cares a lot. It's a passive confrontation about who might throw a punch or not. We are all transgressors, we're all
This delivery here is so interesting because it's almost like he's exasperated, almost like he's about to run out of breath. It's slightly more conversational, but there's like also a hint of musical theater in there.
The man who says he cares a lot is a passive confrontation
very
about who might throw a punch
sound.
or not. We are all transgressors, we're all sinners, we're all astronauts. So if you're beating death, then raise your hand, but shut up if you're not. 'Cause I am a difference maker. Oh, I am the only one that speaks to him. I am the friendliest of friends of God. Oh, I am the only one that speaks to him, and I am the friendliest of friends of God. Oh, I am a difference maker. Oh, I am the only one that speaks to him, and I am the friendliest of friends of God.
It's really pretty. I'm definitely interested to check out these lyrics here, so we can dive in quickly. But again, I love the way that these songs build, the intensity. It's almost like we don't need intensity because of how gradual the building is. So when you get moments that are like let's imagine we started this song in the first 2 minutes around like 40% level of intensity. If we just gradually raise the temperature in the room, right? We go from 40 to 42 to 46 to maybe we get to 60% and we stay there because of how, again, intentional and gradual that dialing up from 40 to 60 is. When you reach that 60, it feels even more massive than it would have if you had quickly jumped from 30 to 60 to 50 to, like, if we had done a lot of movements. So by the end, I'm completely almost filled with that emotion, and it kind of stays within me. It lingers longer. I feel like I am a difference maker too. Let's jump into the lyrics here. Yeah, isn't it amazing how a man can find himself alone, call it into the darkness for an answer he's never known? It's amazing. Yeah, isn't it amazing how God can take a broken man, let him find a fortune, let him ruin it with his own two hands? Yeah, there's so much here already, but just line by line, often in life we find ourselves alone. I've talked about this on the channel. I wrote about it in my community posts. Like, often I can feel alone, and we kind of throw darts into the darkness. We reach out for help where we don't know it may exist, and God is always a source to reach out for that help. And if you do feel broken, that is a source that you can return to make you feel whole, to make you feel like life is worth living, and potentially in reference to God. But then it also paints the reality that he can give you the fortune, he can give you all of these benefits and what you think are valuable to you on the material plane, these fortunes, but you can lose it just the same. So all of what you're experiencing now, it's ephemeral, it's fleeting, you won't have it forever, temporary. What is forever is potentially your relationship with God, what happens after your passing. So he climbs up on that hill, on the rock on which he stands. He looks back at the crowd. He looks down at his hands and he says, I am a difference maker. This, I feel like I'm going to need your help to give me some context for the story about climbing to the rock, because I'm almost thinking of like Moses for some reason, climbing up on the hill, on the rock on which he stands. The he here. Maybe this is from the perspective of Moses or Jesus. I'm really not too sure of who the he in this context refers to, but then the line, I am a difference maker, shifting the attention back onto the self. I can make a difference for the world, for my own life, for others, for God. I'm the only one who speaks to him, and I am the friendliest of friends to God. So now I'm thinking it's more of like a Messiah, right? Somebody who's an emissary who can communicate with God. The friendliest of friends of God. Yeah. Yeah, isn't it amazing how a man can find himself alone, call into the darkness for an answer that he's never known? You get a repetition of the chorus here. And this post-chorus. And this section too. But I guess there's a bit of a difference. So, oh, I am a difference maker. Oh, I am the only one that speaks to him. Only one is interesting. I really don't know who is being referred to here as the I now, because the way I've kind of viewed it in my own thinking, as well as in many different religious stories I've heard and anecdotally, most people view that they have an independent, or those religious people view that they have an independent relationship with God. So God has many relationships with everybody, but you have your own individual one as well. But here it feels like they are the only one with that relationship, the only one with the capability of speaking to him. In a world of heathens, you are the only saint. Not what I was expecting in that part. I'm on the fence about nearly everything I've seen, and I've felt the fire put out by too much gasoline, right? Adding fuel to the flame inadvertently. not having a value system that allows you to make decisions. And we're all strangers passing through a place and time afternoon. Life is but a vision in a window that we're peeking through. Yeah, everything that we are experiencing right now, it is a window into all of what the universe has to offer. This is just a momentary expression. Everything we sense is also temporary. Though it is felt, it is temporary, and we don't know how much more there is, right? If you ever take a look at all of those crazy like universe expansion documentaries and space, and how small things can be, but also how infinitely large things can be, and we view ourselves in that context. We are microcosms universally, cosmically. And what we are experiencing is just a little percentage of all that there is. So we should at least be humble in that. A helpless conversation with a man who says he cares a lot. It's a hopeless confrontation about who might throw a punch or not. We are all transgressors, all sinners, all astronauts. So if you're beating death, then raise your hand, but shut up if you're not. Interesting. This is probably one of the more contentious paragraphs in this whole thing. A lot of people, right, they virtue signal is, I think, the cleanest way to put it. They pretend they care, they signal that they care, but in actuality, with their actions, they don't care. It's a hopeless confrontation about who might throw a punch or not. You can just pontificate and talk yourself into endless loops if you don't enact any of what you're actually saying, right? Listen to people's actions, not their words. But depending on who you're listening to, listen to their words as well, because it's indicative of what they believe of the actions they have taken and predict that they will likely take. But we are all transgressors, all sinners, all astronauts. We've all made mistakes. We all sin. We all explore and reach new bounds and try to understand more of the universe than we already do. So we all make these efforts and attempts, but we're not omnipotent the same way that God is. So if you're beating death, then raise your hand, but shut up if you're not. So shut up if you're not is applied to who? Everybody who's not beating death? Makes sense to me. Then we get the repetition here. 'Cause I'm the difference maker. Oh, I am the only one that speaks to him, and I am the friendliest of friends of God. Yeah. This difference maker, I'm thinking, is a Messiah of some sort. If I'm wrong about that, then it's likely a personal relationship with God, and the word only here I'm giving a little too much emphasis towards in my analysis, because you are the only one who can have that personal relationship with God. Nobody else can have that relationship for you and on your behalf. Others can pray for you and they can wish you well, but that personal relationship with God will continue to persist. But on the other hand, if it is the Messiah, if it is somebody who's carrying down God's word to the masses for everybody who's a transgressor and sinner and astronaut, then we can follow that interpretation as well. But it gives us, this kind of song gives us a lot of personal accountability and agency and all that's done, but it also acknowledges too that we are going to make mistakes as well. And then the thread of forgiveness gets wrapped right back into this. So interestingly, I think with all three of these songs today, we talked about God and forgiveness, and I'm curious to know your perspectives on these tracks today. So please let me know in the comments down below if you haven't already, but that's all I've got for you today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, my friends. Take care and peace.